This is 5-year-old me, back when I had a very simple brain, when I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life, and when I didn't have a girlfriend. Nice to see nothing's changed in the 18 years since then. One thing I did like though, was Formula 1, and in particular the Monaco Grand Prix. Mainly because I loved that it had a tunnel and that the cars were careering into a barrier at 200 miles per hour. Look, I said I had a simple mind, didn't I? That love for Monaco never really went away, and it's why, despite there being less overtakes than the ages of Philip Schofield's boyfriends, I still look forward to the Grand Prix every year. There's just something special about those 19 turns in Monte Carlo. Now, let's scrap the nostalgia and get into what you're actually here for. So listen to me rip 20 F1 drivers a new one. Hey there guys, I'm Will, welcome to FP1 and the comedy review. Now it's time for the Monaco Grand Prix. Right then, let's dive right into...
What the hell is going on here? Oh, mamma mia.
And this week it was all about liveries. McLaren kicking us off with their special Triple Crown celebrations, making us wonder where the hell these designers were when composing this piece of shit. Williams were also busy redesigning their car's look, taking advantage of their golf partnership to produce some more internet pornography for Formula 1 fans. Having presented 4 different designs, it's currently up to the public to vote on which they will take to races later in the season. And just saying, if you're choosing anything besides the heritage option, please do us all a favour and jump off the highest thing you can find. In other news, for the first time in however long it's been because I couldn't be bothered to look it up, F1 have got control over the TV broadcasts in Monaco this weekend, meaning it's finally time to say goodbye to the Lance Stroll cut-ins and hello to virtual reality graphics making the circuit look more like Rainbow Road. All of these stories dwarf the big one heading into Monaco though, as midweek some pundits at the Daily Mail emerged from their Imola crack den and claimed Hamilton was going to Ferrari. The rumours stated the Scuderia had offered #blessed 40 million to ditch Mercedes to be repeatedly fisted by the Ferrari strategy team. If it's not clear by my tone already, I don't believe a single word of this, and if it happens I'll travel to Monaco myself and run round the track naked. Watch that come back to bite me on the arse. With I'm sure a lovely image in everyone's minds, let's get into practice, where straight away we were wowed by the new look of the Mercedes W14. It may have taken 18 months for the Silver Arrows to realise that maybe if no one else was trying a zero-pod concept it might not be very good, but in Monaco they would show up with a radically different looking car. If you're looking for an in-depth analysis over what's changed, they've got side pods now. Look at me using my engineering degree to good use. The early signs from the team seemed to look good, and also making upgrades to his car was Alex Albon, though I'm not sure these were as effective. The tyre driver brought out the red flag in the dying minutes of an FP1 full of close calls, Nico Hülkenberg clipping the wall at the Nouvelle chicane, while teammate Kevin Magnussen went on an expedition into the runoff at Saint-Devote. Carlos Sainz topped the first session despite kissing the wall at the swimming pool, in a move that was described by Will Buxton as either luck or judgment. Clearly it was luck, as the Spaniard binned it there a few hours later. Max Verstappen would top that second practice session, as George Russell showed us it is in fact possible to overtake around Monaco, provided you cut the chicane. Red Bull were quick then, but the big question mark surrounded Aston Martin. Well, to be honest, just Fernando Alonso. The devious Spaniard had been accused of sandbagging all day long, and just as we were about to get a taste of what he could actually do in FP3, #blessed decided it would be time to switch into woke mode, taking his anger out on Qatar's advertising boards over their human rights. Lewis, there's a time and a place, for God's sake. With the session over prematurely again, you'd expect Hamilton's car to be placed on the truck and driven back to the pits. But oh no, this is Monaco, let's not forget. So let's dangle it in the air by a thread and give all the Mercedes engineers a brain aneurysm in the process. At least the late red flag meant qualifying was a complete and utter unknown. Now I say that, I don't quite think we were ready for how competitive Saturday was really going to be. The early signs were there in Q1, Tsunoda topping the times as the track began to rapidly improve. Sergio Perez took this to mean that he could take the first corner at light speed, this ending as you would expect. As it was the Red Bull's turn to soar through the Monaco skies, the session resumed and times continued to fall. This almost caught out the likes of Hamilton and Sainz, though thanks to Logan Sargent driving like one of the locals, both were able to squeeze through into the second part of qualifying. Logan, meanwhile, along with the two Haas cars and Zhou, would join Perez in the Q1 drop zone. Come Q2, Hamilton was struggling yet again, though not quite as much as Lando Norris, the Brit trying a new line through to back that seemed to involve not turning his steering wheel. Despite this, new teammate Oscar Piastri was still unable to beat Lando, as he made up the Q2 elimination zone along with De Vries, Albon, Stroll and Bottas. Notice how I say Stroll with no emphasis now, despite him being in arguably the second best car. Apparently he deserves his seat because he's fit. Bloody Twitter. Anyway, as we got into Q3, we all wondered who it would be this year that smashed into the barrier and ruined the best part of the weekend. But maybe we should have had a bit more faith, as instead we got arguably one of the best quali sessions in recent memory. The circuit was still rubbering in and times were still dropping. Mix that with Verstappen having a subpar opening lap, and all of a sudden everyone was watching and paying attention to Monaco for once. Alonso topped the table, then Verstappen, then Leclerc, then Ocon. Yeah, I'm amazed at that one as well. By the dying seconds though, it looked like Aston Martin might just have secured pole. Verstappen was down 2/10 and just had the shortest sector to go. And then he hit the wall on the straight for some reason. And then, well, Sunday's probably ruined now, but with the potential for rain on the way, who knows? What I do know, however, is how to secure the best prices on F1 race tickets, and it's all thank you to Headout once again for sponsoring this episode of the Comedy Review. If you don't know who Headout are by now, you're either a new viewer to the channel, in which case you should probably subscribe, or have been skipping the ads in my videos. But hold on, just wait a minute. You may well want to hear this. Headout are an experiences and ticketing service who provide the best prices and availability when it comes to attending Formula 1 races. With the European season about to get underway, it's a good time to secure your tickets for any of the upcoming Grand Prix. We've also got Spain next week, and with Alonso carrying Aston Martin on his back at the moment, you just know that's going to be a special one to witness live. To get your tickets, head to the link in the description below and use the code FP130 for a further 30% discount on your order. Thanks again to Headout for sponsoring the video. Now let's jump back to Monaco. As usual, the rain that we've been promised didn't show up for the start. But as the lights went out, Max held the lead from Alonso and Ocon. It may have been quiet at the front, but further back, things were getting a little bit more dicey. Nico Hülkenberg using the rest of the field as a brake, which, if we look at history, has never gone well. The stewards took a dim view of this, gifting the German with a 5-second penalty, as Perez dived into the pits for hards at the end of lap 1. The tyre whisperer going to work. This is Monaco after all, so let's cut to the first crash. And of course it was Ferrari. Carlos Sainz running into the back of Esteban Ocon at the chicane, wrecking his front wing, though the Spaniard chose to stay out and spew carbon fibre all over the circuit. Here's something you don't see very often, an overtake. In fact, you can have 3, all thanks to Logan Sargent having the pace of a giant African land snail. Despite seeing 5 overtakes in just 2 laps, which I'm pretty sure is a record over here, Sky Sports still seem to be worried about their viewing figures. Guess it's time to mention some imaginary rain then. Ferrari, meanwhile, were taking indecision to a whole new level, telling Sainz to pit practically every single lap, only to tell him to stay out at the last minute. I guess they thought they were trying to trick Ocon on Alpine, which is cute, I guess. Still, could always be worse. For instance, you could be Sergio Perez, who was busy crashing with anyone he could find, then picking from his book of excuses as to why it wasn't his fault. This started with Lance Stroll, who he overtook by taking a rather experimental line through the chicane. He was reluctant to give this place back, but ended up doing it accidentally when he gave Hülkenberg a taste of his own medicine. I'll be honest, I tuned out for a bit here and just started editing this video. Then I look across and see rain is actually falling on the circuit. Now things are about to get interesting. Stroll and the Alfa Romeos were the first to dive onto Inters. Alonso, however, boxed for the medium tyre. Okay, that dry tyre really wasn't the way to go, shown perfectly by Sainz, whose sideways approach into Mirabeau. I'm not sure what he was trying to do here. Stroll would then hit the wall at the hairpin. That wasn't down to dry tyres though, just down to Lance Stroll. He became the first retirement as Alonso was able to box again for free, but Verstappen now had a 20-second lead. All the while, Kevin Magnussen was still out on hards, Haas running their 150th Grand Prix in typical Haas fashion. With Verstappen practically on his flight to Spain already, the big battle in the final stages of the race was that for third between Ocon and Hamilton. As they went at it, Yuki Tsunoda was enjoying life in the top 10, until his brakes decided that they didn't want to brake anymore. Verstappen teased us with a few little brushes of the barrier, but come the end of the day, there was no stopping the Dutchman, who came across the line to take his second Monaco Grand Prix victory ahead of Alonso and Esteban Ocon. And it's a Monaco Grand Prix, I've got to say, that was actually good. Even before the rain, I felt like we got more overtakes than usual around here. It's just nice to see that Monaco can still spring a surprise in the modern era, even if its reputation has fallen so much a surprise constitutes an overtake on Logan Sargent. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the comedy review. If you did, be sure to drop it a like and get subscribed for more in the future. Don't forget, we've also got the Indy 500 to look forward to this evening, and you can expect my review on that in the coming days. A big thank you again to Head Out for sponsoring this video, and thanks to all my patrons and channel members for your continued support. If you want to help out in that regard, all the links you need are down in the description below. I'll be seeing you very soon for another video, but until then, have a good one.